what I think you're saying is the fans losing trust. And that's a
Oh
really
yeah.
bad, like
That's a yeah.
that's a bad place to be in terms of like the universe of like A Song of Ice and Fire. And it's got to be really hard for people that love this world and
I imagine that most of us have seen the A Feast for Crows release that's the illustrated version that's about to be released, and the absolute drama
mm,
Cat 5 hurricane coming in on there. They did like a little early preview of illustrations, and it turns out that a lot of them are probably AI.
yeah, it's not, yeah, it's, I think the book is out,
And
but
they actually included those images in it. Those
mm,
weren't just like promo
yeah,
materials.
yeah,
Okay.
that's like, I don't think 100% yes or no we're ever going to get definitive answers as to is this AI generated art or
I
not. I
mean,
don't think they're ever gonna, if it is, I don't think they're ever gonna come out and just say it.
they can't admit to it at this
Yeah,
point because it's not just that it's out and people are like, yeah, that's AI. And it's not just that other AIs are like, yeah,
because we
that's
checked.
we
Yeah,
checked with multiple AIs and
we
they were
checked. Yeah,
like,
there's a
definitely.
explain that maybe because some people might not know even how
So
that works.
when you are looking at an AI image, it is very common for, like, at first glance, the image looks fine. And
Hmm.
then upon resting your eyes on it longer, things start to become like incongruent and illogical. So, do we have any of the images to pull up to like,
No, but I can overlay them.
okay, so when we're looking at like there's this image of Brienne of what I assume is Brienne of Tarth, and there's a dog in front of her, and then there's like I don't know who he seems to have Gandalf's staff, but he has a mule like on his side, and at first glance the image looks fine, but then as you look at the image longer, you realize that he is walking at a 45-degree angle from like the ground, and so is the mule, but Brienne and the dog are just fine. And then there's also light diffusion types of things. When you're looking at it, like you're going to see a lot of like, soft focus background with most of the detail being,
Glossy
yeah,
foreground.
glossy
Yeah.
foregrounds, high detail in the foreground, low detail resolution in the background.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like the elements of things will be arranged like almost too perfectly.
Yeah. I think the one thing that really and this isn't to say whether it's AI or not, AI art, generated art, but I think the questionable thing for me is like this is George R. R. Martin and his heraldry, right? Like when you look at the characters, when you look at where they're from and their sigils and everything like that, it's such a colorful representation of who that person is, right? Like
Yeah.
specifically like when you're going to see an image of someone you would come to expect like the certain colors that their house prefers or
Mm,
some details in the
that
background,
image.
yeah, the details in the background that would kind of signify who they are with like a crest or something, especially on the armor, like stuff like that, right? And there's none of that in these images, which is, I think, a little bit peculiar in a way, where it's not like, it's not what you would expect for, the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire universe, which again, like, isn't to say that that means it's AI, but it's just kind of an odd choice where it's like, well, who are these people that we're looking at? Because there's so much fan art out there for A Song of Ice and Fire. Like there's so much of it, but 99.9% of the time, if you look at fan art, you're going to know exactly who you're looking at.
Right.
Whether it be, even if you can't recognize like the face, you're like, oh, like, that house, like those colors. And so it's
Mm.
kind of like, it's a bit odd, I will say, that something like that is like very
We're talking
questionable.
about the blue dress, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that, but I mean, like even the armor. Like there's one image, it's one of the Greyjoys, I'm assuming. And it's just like the
I don't know where that image was from. Like, there's, yeah, where did it come from?
right.
To like build upon what you were saying about like what you're expecting, how you know like who you're looking at. When you're creating imagery with AI, even with like higher end models, it is at some level of negotiation with them
Yeah. It's
because it is not
also
as
just like
simple.
just like a side, like a tangent here, like ask Laura anything about AI. This is like a hyperfixation issue for you. Like you know more about it, I think,
Oh,
than anyone I know. So,
I read
like,
like benchmark tests and
yeah.
because like quite frankly, it's gonna be the
Mm,
next like realm of security issues will come from
right.
AI. Those higher end image generators, it's still like make the dress red and then it'll make the dress red, but it makes something else crazy instead because
Right.
it then like starts hallucinating.
Yeah.
And
And
it could be
you
why,
can't get that detailed. I mean, if you're like,
yeah,
hey, make the dress red, but also there needs to be like an emblem on the belt in the design of a rose, like it's gonna start to crash out a little bit. Like it
it will.
can't,
The more like specific your details get, the more it can kind of be like, I'm gonna make this crazy.
yeah.
And so, then we have also, there's like a second portion to this also. So the internet goes to uproar, which understandably,
Yeah.
like the idea of them doing a money grab with AI pictures
Whew.
is disgusting for
Whew.
this franchise. So then we
Allegedly.
have
Allegedly.
allegedly, we're going to stick with allegedly. So then what is not allegedly is that Rhea Golden issues a statement on George's blog that's called Not a Blog. And she
Yeah, give
goes
us,
on and on
explain who
about,
that is.
she says, according to her, she manages the direction and licensing development here at Fever River, working closely with GRM as his schedule will allow. But she alone was responsible for approving all of the licensed art that accompanies those A Song of Ice and Fire books. So this is on her completely. This
Right.
actually isn't on George. But my question for her is why did you not take the time to run some of these images through a simple AI? Like a very widely available AIs out there will do it.
Well, that's the thing, because we did it.
Yeah, I
You wanna
mean, we
tell
just
people,
showed,
do you wanna
yeah, we
tell
just
how that work people how that works?
so all that we did is we took the images themselves and then loaded them into two different AI programs and gave them what would be very new. Like the one doesn't even need a prompt because that's what it's designed for. Then we also put it in a chat GPT and gave it an extremely neutral, which if anybody wanted to see the log for that, I could link it. I gave it an extremely neutral prompt like is this or is this not. I said, do you think this is AI generated? If so, please elaborate. If not, please elaborate. That's all I said to it.
And we also put it through programs that are designed to detect AI,
Right.
and then they will actually tell you which model it believes that it went through. And I think the one was like Stable Diffusion.
The one I kept getting was Stable Diffusion and Midhaven 6.
Yeah. And so, like,
um
this one in particular was actually like telling you this is the model that it came from. And so,
yeah,
like, and that's the thing that's odd
or
because it
sorry, it's Mid Journey version
yeah,
6.
Midi Journey. So, I mean, essentially, like, they're, and that's the thing, like, you can't say, we don't know exactly, like, what the success rate of their, like, benchmark testing is and everything. Like, we don't know
Yeah,
how
like
reliable the outcome is there, but on every occasion, except for maybe like one, it was saying
there
like,
was
yes,
one
definitely,
there
this is
was
AI.
there was one that it said 3763, 63 that it's AI, 37 that it's not. And that was the best result we got. Almost all of the rest were
Yeah.
99%. Like
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the one AI age, they're all called agents. The one agent that is designed specifically to scan imagery for I think that one I would be surprised if it ever put back a 100% because
Right.
then that's like an accusation.
Hmm.
But it came back as 99% and then it just kept hitting for stable diffusion.
Right.
And then like when we put it through Chat GPT, that agent is like, there's a lot of different ways to tell that this is AI. And it was like, it's most likely generated by a model like Midjourney version 6 or a high-end stable diffusion checkpoint
Hmm.
for cinematic fantasy illustration. And it's so then we go to the artist, you know,
Himself.
things are happening. We're on the artist page and we're looking at his portfolio.
Right.
A, if that's AI and he's using those Disney characters, they're coming for you, buddy.
Yeah, I
But
mean that's another thing too though because I scrolled through the artist or the illustrator his Instagram, you know, his Instagram feed and a lot of his artwork like there's a lot of like sketches, there's a lot of like actual like art that is not digital on there that is very decent. And so like that's what keeps throwing me for a loop because it's like okay, obviously this guy can put out like really good work. In this case, I don't know like what why it's so different. And I mean, obviously with digital artwork, like it is going to look different. It's not going to look like you know, pulled out your charcoal pencils and, you know, went to work on
right.
paper. But I will say that this artist, like he does have like a portfolio. He does have work that is done that is not digitally. But like at the same
Yeah.
time, that doesn't rule anything out. And
It
I
really doesn't, especially because you could have an AI agent make what appears to be a
true.
photo of your desk with a sketch on it. And I think that I personally think Rhea is a little overconfident
Mm.
here. I don't know if I would stand on this that hard because
It's, you know, it's the Wild West out here. It really is with
it's
AI.
it's
And
also
we're not at a place right now to really be able like physically as as a human person, you kind of get into this murky ground of like you can realize that something is off, but not always tell exactly what it is that is making you feel as though that it wasn't like done by
yeah.
hands. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
and you know, it's also good to keep in mind that AI advances at nearly the speed of light, and it's you know, media literacy is going to get more and more rocky of a
Murky. Yeah.
terrain, murky. But right now, I think that as a writer, making him a creative, as a creative, having AI mixed in is kind of disrespectful to the rest of the creative community,
I
especially like the
yes.
illustration community.
Yeah.
Um, as I don't, I think they made a mistake and possibly put a little bit of too much trust in this guy because he told them it wasn't AI.
Yeah. That's the thing. And I mean, I feel bad for the plethora of artists and illustrators out there who are like deep into the A Song of Ice and Fire fandom who've been putting out like great art for years, getting
God, there's so much.
getting passed over for this guy whose portfolio is just it's not huge. It's not big. His digital footprint is very minute. Like it's very small. He's
I have
not
thoughts about that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, like
I
it's
have a lot of thoughts about having an extremely small digital footprint as an artist at his age.
right. And if you're getting chosen to do something as prestigious, I mean like my God, is there a bigger fantasy, bigger wider known fantasy universe besides A Song of Ice and Fire in
I don't.
2025. I think it
I
might be the biggest. And so like this is like the top, like is the top of the mountain. I mean, and to think that, there are all of these people putting out incredible artwork that got passed over for that is actually like really sad in a way. I mean, and the fans, right? Like the diehard A Song of Ice and Fire fans, where it's like they're gonna tell you the heraldry. They don't even have to look anything up. They know the eye color. They know the hair color.
girl.
That, you know what I mean? Like for someone to be doing an image of like Tywin or just anybody and not being able to tell who that character is, it's like,
You
oof.
only know who it is due to the scene.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is who is that man? Dude,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, when I think about the pictures, it's so many of them. I'm like, what is I'm like, okay, so I
My
think
brain
that's
starts to kind of
this
like
place. Girl, Cersei in blue, how did that make it past the editors?
it, and that's the thing. Like
Like,
that's I
it's a
think they've
bad
been
move.
I think
On a
they've been found guilty in the court of
girl,
public opinion in this case, and I don't think
yeah.
any statement is going to be able to change that.
No, no. I think that she overestimates like how this fandom works.
Yeah.
Like this fandom is really expansive. And yeah, there are going to be some people who are like, "Oh, she works for him, so I'm going to believe everything she says." And in such a like tumultuous time for the franchise where the fandom's really like expressing a lot of anger.
Yeah, everybody wants wins. Everybody,
Everybody
like
wants wins. We don't want illustrated books, especially not with AI. Like
no.
it's
I mean,
like
is this the end? I mean, I don't think it's like like the literal end of A
um
Song of Ice and Fire, but like in the court of public opinion, like people are really like inflamed. Like people are not resonating with everything that's happening in terms of like George having other projects, George doing his own thing, but this kind of feels like a sign of things just not
I think it feels
working.
like a cash grab.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like the
And it's
like
crazy.
right, like you're seeing what I think you're seeing is the fans losing trust, and that's a
Oh
really
yeah.
bad like
That's a yeah.
that's a bad place to be in terms of like the universe of like A Song of Ice and Fire, and it's got to be really hard for people that love this world and